How to not fall off on your business when you're in a different country. Yeah, awesome question. Oh, hang on, let's put that there. How to not fall off on your business when you're in a different country. How much should you be working? I'm going to Bali and straight afterwards to Tunisia for a total of 3 weeks. How can I still make progress in my business? I fear that I'll feel guilty and I can't enjoy those places when I won't be working hard or I'll be missing out because I'm working too much. In addition to that, when I come back, how can I get back to my routine fast and not have the dopamine crash because the vacation was too much dopamine? Okay, let's answer this one at a time then. So when you're about to take a trip, or basically what we're asking is like time off, or when we're gonna have a period of less focus. So there's two ways we can do this. A similar example could be a cheat meal, for example. The fat ass who stays fat says that they'll have the cheat meal right now and that tomorrow the work starts. They stay fat forever. Like they're feeling guilty, they'll be like, oh, I'm a fat piece of shit, but like, yeah, tomorrow it'll start, right? Like I'll cheat right now, I'll take the time off right now, tomorrow I'll do the work. This is the same with like the little skinny kid who's like trying to build a business and he's 19 years old and he's like, oh yeah, like today I'll procrastinate, today I'll scroll, I'll play games, I'll fuck around. Tomorrow I'll do like at 15 hours of work, I'll do like double the work tomorrow. It's the same with like calories. Like when I used to bulk or when I used to cut, if I overate my calories on a cut, I'd be like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'll just eat like just protein. I'll just eat like 700 calories to like counteract it. Basically what we're doing is like instant gratification. We're saying, okay, my future self has to do the work. We're giving ourselves debt, basically. My future self has to do the work. I get to spend the money right now. My future self has to make up for it. We all know this is the wrong way to do it. So the way to take time off, or the way to have cheat meals, the way to prepare yourself for a trip, for example, it's all the same concept, which is just like, when are you going to reward yourself, is to front load the work. You do the work right now, the delayed gratification, so that future you gets to have the enjoyment. Because, for example, they are, let's say, up in progress. So, for example, calorie deficit is looking good. Maybe YouTube videos are like stacked in schedule. Maybe you've just done like 5, 6, 7 days straight of workouts, so they're stacked there. It's like, okay, I could take a rest day now. Do you see how we're front loading the work? So us today has to go through the hard work and the sacrifice and the grit, so that our future us gets to think, oh yeah, I already did that. Like, fair enough, I can actually take a second here to enjoy myself. So very specifically what this looks like when it comes to YouTube is, for example, stack up the videos. Whatever your normal routine is, like the schedule, if you're posting daily or 3 times a week, whatever, just calculate the math on how long your trip is going to be. So if it's total 3 weeks and you post daily, then you might need to get about 21 YouTube videos scheduled. Now that's assuming that you don't upload a single video in that time, which might be a good thing to assume, just so any you do make in that time is extra. It's like a bonus, but there's no pressure. So if you record like a fun video whilst you're out, it's all good. Kind of like if we on our cheat day, we might still walk the dog, but we're not going to count that as like our extra calories that day. You get what I mean? It's like, yeah, sure, we might end up recording a video whilst we're in Bali, or 3 videos, but don't make it so that you have to, because that's where it's going to be painful, right? Because I'm productive here, but I've been here for ages now. It's like been way more than 6 months. So my routine is set. Everything's good. The diet's good. It's the smallest things. You guys know how much the smallest thing in your routine makes a big difference. All of it's set for me so I can work here and produce, and I upload daily on like 3-4 different channels. It's all good for me. But for you guys, especially when you're landing and you're going to come for a bit more of socialization, not being on the autistic routine, chances are like you might get like 2 or 3 videos done. So preferably there's no pressure at all. So very autistically, get up 3 weeks worth of your videos in schedule. And how can you still make progress in business? There's let me show you this picture actually, because this was pretty cool. I saw this on Chris Williamson's Instagram the other day, and I thought it was like a fantastic thing to show you guys actually. Yeah, this one here. So how to go from the operator guy to the idea guy. We'll say the operator guy for us is basically us like working like mules, just working as much as possible. And the step that we do want to take is when we become the idea guy, we become a higher leverage guy. So there's a very painful transition that you need to make where you go from working like the mule to working like the lion and just getting the ideas. At the beginning, you have to just work as much as possible. Later on, though, at the beginning, you have to work as much as possible. You have to get all the videos. You have to script the videos and record them and just keep making more videos and make like a shitty sales page and no one buys it. This is just what you have to do in those earlier stages. The reason why I'm just quickly showing you this is because when you said, how can you still make progress in your business? This is where the ideas are actually the work. Like that's the ROI of a trip like this. It's not that, for example, you'll bust out a ton of videos whilst you're here. It's the ideas, it's the insights. You'll speak to a guy who you think is like a little bit simple, not to be offensive, but you're like, oh yeah, this guy's a bit of a retard, whatever, he's a nice guy. And then it'll just turn out that he makes like 5 times more money than you, and you'll be like, oh, okay. So that's just changed, that conversation just changed my life forever now. Because now I realize if this fucking retard can do it, then so can I. And that's the business work. So remember, it's not actually about work. This is a lesson many of you need to understand, and I've only just understood this in the last like couple of months. It's never been about the work. It's always the output. Now, in the future, like as a side point to destroy my argument here, in a weird way, it is about the work because, it's the journey, not the destination. And, hard work feels, you get my, all the gay, cute stuff, right? But when we're talking about just making fucking money, when we're talking about success, like being outcome dependent, it's not actually the work, it's the output. Now, if I could just click my fingers and make you rich, you probably would take that deal, but you know that you might become kind of bored or miserable or whatever. So we all know like how this works. But that being said, when we're thinking about making progress in our business, we are thinking about the success out of that, right? Now, of course, we want fulfilling work, but what I'm saying is to get the outcome of success, which is what we all want, it's actually about the success in and of itself. And sometimes, a lot of the times, work does not actually equal to the success. A lot of the success actually comes from insights. It comes from like for example, I have been using Instagram more lately, like for actual business use, and I've been speaking to this like one fitness influencer who's got a school community, just chatting with him a little bit, and he ended up telling me his conversion rate on his sales page is like 2.7%. That's 10 times higher than my one. Now, technically, me being on Instagram makes me sound like a little Jeffrey, right? But can you imagine just that little insight, how much that pissed me off, and it's been making me think, like, why the fuck is my conversion so low? So I've just started recording new VSLs. I'm like, fuck it, let's go split test like 10 of them over the next few weeks. See what happens if we get one that just randomly fucking pops off. I reread Alex Hormozi's 100 million offers in one day, like literally 6-7 hours of reading. Completely drew up like a new sort of way to explain what you get in Adonis School. It's still the same product, but it's just a way to explain it with a different kind of guarantee and everything like that. Because I'm like, yeah, how the fuck is he on 2.7%? That's fucking insane. Now, was me being on Instagram chatting to someone like real work? Like, not really, right? Like, obviously, we can say it is because of this outcome, but we probably wouldn't have assumed it was real work. But it ended up maybe even being more important than most of my work in and of itself. So if you're asking something like, oh, I'm about to go on this trip, or, I'm going to take this period off or whatever, how can I still make progress? It is these discussions with people. It's the insights, it's the thoughts, it's the journaling. I can't tell you how much money I've made indirectly just from having a journal and taking flights. Like whenever I take a flight, obviously like being in business class helps, but whenever I take a flight, I always journal for hours. I read through like some book. And sometimes I read an entire book on the flight. And I've journaled 10, 20, 30 pages. And it's insane of how many insights I've got and the implementations that we make that, lowers churn, or it gets us more customers, or it's like a good YouTube video, whatever. And you wouldn't have thought me journaling on a plane was work, because it's not really. But it's still got us progress in the business. So if you are taking a trip, if you're coming to Bali, don't stress out as much. Don't be in the autistic thing of like, oh man, like I'm not sat on my laptop as much as normal, so I'm not being productive. if you're having conversations with people, this is still productive. The only thing I don't want to see from anyone is you come to Bali and basically you're just not really doing either of those. So for example, you're just being a complete degenerate, you're going out, you're just drinking, you're like, just doing stupid habits. By all means, I understand if you want to go out and like party and enjoy yourself, I understand that. But like, don't make that the purpose of your trip, right? And it's the same where, if, for example, you just like stay in and you're not really doing anything productive, you're not utilizing the trip or whatever, this opportunity is. You just scrolling or some shit like that. Like, I understand these things can happen, but like use it well. The only exception to that is, if you get sick, okay, fine. When you get sick, all bets are off. Just fucking scroll, do whatever you can do to make yourself feel better. But as long as you're feeling fairly healthy, which all of you should be, just the conversations is going to be profitable. You might be thinking in the morning, imagine you and like 3 of the guys are saying like, oh, let's go to the gym right now. And you're thinking like, oh, no, I'm going to do this like work, which I don't really need to do. Like, I've got 4 videos stacked up. I'm just going to record this extra video. Like, you don't actually have to, right? You recording that video has probably made you less money than you going for this workout. Because if, look, you have a good workout, you record some B-roll there, you get some ideas. Let's say you're in the looks maxing niche or some shit. You go to the gym and you see this guy who looks like a total Chad and you get like 5 video ideas from that. And you get like stories and you speak to this guy and he tells you the story. You get my point? It's like, this actually could have been more productive that day, even though it doesn't look like it's the work. So just keep this in mind, right? And when you feel guilty about this, bro, it's completely normal. I feel guilty about this shit all the time. And I have to sometimes remind myself, like by far, the work is important. Like the work is very spiritually fulfilling. But when we're talking about like, the work in and of itself as rewarding, that's about a few hours a day, honestly. This is about 1 to 4 hours of work a day is actually like rewarding. And it's, it's like, oh man, that was some good work I did. I'm proud of my efforts there. Anything more than that, and it's like, you don't really get that feeling. Like you're not really that proud, for example, if you do like 10 hours of like grunt work. You know what I mean? If like, imagine if we've got 100 emails, for example. If I replied to all of them and I was like, oh yeah, boys, worked for 10 hours today. You better all call me like a fucking retard, right? It's like you could have paid someone like fucking $25 to reply to all of those, right? In the 10 hours or in 1 hour, I could have made more money if I just focused on the higher leverage things. So when it comes to like the guilt, what I would say is always get in, when possible, your deep creative work. So record some awesome videos. You'll shuffle your schedule around, right? So if, for example, the boys are going to do something exciting from this time that you usually would work, you're like, yeah, fuck it. I came on this trip for this reason. I actually won't work right now. I'll go do the social thing and I'll just, I'll do the work later on when there's some dead time over here, for example. That's all good. But yeah, get this in and then you shouldn't feel as guilty there. And then in addition to that, when you come back to, how do you get back to your routine fast and not have the dopamine crash? Honestly, there's no special advice I could give you. It's just like, just do it. Honestly, it's like, there'll be a bit of a transition period, but I would say it shouldn't take that long, especially if you're going back to the same routine, right? So when you come back from some kind of trip or time off or whatever, if you come back to the same routine, the same bedtime, morning time, meal times, gym time, exactly like that, then you should be able to, honestly, within the first like couple of days, adjust. You might have some jet lag, you might be slightly sleep deprived because of the plane, whatever, but you should be on it within like, because when I land back home, I'm on it on the first day. Like in the last like 2 years when I've taken a fuck ton of flights, probably about 20, 30 flights, there's only been one day where I didn't actually go back onto the routine right away. And it's just because I had like a fever. And so I came back home and I fell asleep at like 9 a.m. or no, but maybe like 2 p.m. or something like that. And I was asleep for like 12 or like 16 hours or whatever. That was it. Basically, I was sick. But apart from that, every single time I've landed back home, I always just discipline myself to get right back on the exact routine. Because what you've got to do is don't act like a normal person. Let's say you're jet lagged, whatever it is, and you land back home at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m. for you is usually the gym time. Guess what I'd recommend you to do once you land back home? Go to the fucking gym. Oh, but I'm tired, I'm sleep deprived. As long as you're not sick, go and just do the workout. Yeah, sure, you might not hit a PR, lift safely, don't be an idiot. But I guarantee this is going to make you feel better, because the whole point is, as soon as you land on day one, the biggest thing is we just want your bedtime to be the exact same. That's it. This is the crucial thing. If your bedtime is the same on the first day, you get back to like a routine, then tomorrow it will be all perfect. So we have to make sure everything leading to the bedtime is all good, like for example your meal timings and whatever. And this is actually, I've seen that this is scientifically proven as well, that the way to overcome jet lag and adjusting to new time zones is basically to just act like you're in the new time zone already. Don't sleep when you land at like some awkward time. Do like if you land and let's say you're technically super sleep deprived, you flew at some weird time and you've landed and it's like 8 a.m. for example, and technically your body needs to sleep. It's better if you don't sleep right now to just adjust to the local time, if that makes sense. So it's as simple as like literally just get back onto the routine as much as you possibly can. Same meals, same schedule, everything you possibly can with that. Any questions, follow-up questions on this, and then we'll move on to the next one. Awesome survey. Okay, we'll go next question. Then we've got a question from Alan who said, how can I improve the quality of my fitness YouTube videos? Let's have a look. So guys, you go onto YouTube and you see these thumbnails on your homepage. Would you click? I'm talking about these ones here, like the most recent ones. What do you think when you see them? I'd say there's potential. I'd say it's super close to being really good. I think really the problem is just the framing is kind of wrong. Like there's so much dead space. You could have made yourself 30-40% bigger, and I think that would have killed it. Like, let me show you. Let's go with, what's that guy? Jeremy Ether. He does. Yeah, see some of these? See how it's a very similar style, very, very similar. But you see how when we take a, hang on, let me open his up again. So look at the comparison between these two. Now I have an extension which doesn't show you the views, but I don't think you even I don't think that even matters, right? If I asked you who's getting more views, you'd be able to tell right away, right? Now, why is that? Comment your ideas below. Why is that? Physique is one thing, so the credibility is definitely one thing, yeah? Thumbnail quality, yeah. Because the titles are good, like the topic is fine. You see how his titles are actually like how I finally got lean. I could imagine this title having 1 million views. The exercises that built my physique, this could have 1 million views. That title could have 1 million views. I'm pretty sure he's got something like that. So the titles are actually, you're on point with the titles. I think it's just right now the thumbnail is a little bit weak. I also think it's nothing too crazy, but I do think it looks kind of amateurish when you have like slightly, like different thumbnails, like the random two there. Not most people won't actually click on your channel, so they don't see that, to be honest. So that's not a big thing. But yeah, I'd say mostly it's the thumbnail quality. I'd say for Alan, have a look at this channel here. I'll post it in the chat. Copy some of his thumbnail styles. So you could copy the idea. So for example, the idea is that he's got like a picture of him where he looks fat and then a picture of him where he's opening his pants. That's like copying the idea, and you can do that. But the biggest thing is like look at the more of the sort of graphical artwork side where it, like see how his hair is almost touching the top of the screen, so there's no dead space. Whereas there's quite a lot of dead space with you. If you see how big your face is, it's the same, slightly bigger than my little cursor. His is maybe about 30% bigger. See how his looks cleaner. See how The background looks way cleaner as well. It doesn't have like this like kind of effect. I mean, that's less important, but yeah, definitely work on that. The thing is, and I made a video about this, about that OnlyFans girl, the credibility matters a lot less than you would believe. Like, you could see someone with a pretty okay physique, you know, he just looks like some kid who's been going to the gym for like 50 workouts, and he's got like the smallest amount of muscle mass. And that kind of video can still get like 600k, 800k views. I see them pop up on my homepage all the time. It's like the dynamic where there can be a girl who's actually not even that attractive and she makes millions a month on OnlyFans. You don't actually need to be like as qualified as you think you do. It's more how good is your marketing, how good is your for example, how good is your actual video inside, how good is the advice that you're giving. So that's the first thing that I'd say, just looking at the channel, and then we'll review one of your videos as well. We'll go through, we'll go on this one, and then we'll review one of these ones as well.
Oh, yay!
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now?
I'm kind of bored. Anyone else? Being totally honest, I don't want to watch you do pull-ups. Right?
I gave you all I own, but you
One, like, couple of reps, I would understand that. I don't want to watch anyone do an entire set. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a massive fucking bodybuilder, right? If it's Sam Sulek and in between the reps that he's saying, like, oh, and you've really got to make sure with this exercise you do this, I'm there ready to take notes, right? That guy's bigger than me. But if it's more of a sort of, okay, I'm not massive, this is my journey, you probably don't want to have too many dead periods where, for example, you're not talking and it's kind of repetitive. Like, if I watch one rep of you do this, it's basically done, right? Like, I don't need to see another rep of you doing pull-ups, if you get what I mean. You guys get that, right? Now, if it, for example, was something kind of similar, but let's say we were doing kickboxing and we were sparring, you wouldn't just show a 3-second section of kickboxing, because if a 3-minute round, I would actually watch that, because 1 minute from now, you might get head kicked and it'd be entertaining to watch, or you might do something, you know what I mean? There's something new. The problem with bodybuilding, like in the fitness niches, when you're doing reps of something, it's like, it's boring as fuck. Once we've seen one rep, we've basically seen it all. Now, if it's going to be, yeah, if you're super credible and you've got some knowledge to give in the meantime, okay, sick. If you're doing a 1 rep max, okay, sure, because it's not repetitive. But when it's something like this just gets old super fast. Like, I'm incredibly bored now.
Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
How long are we going to watch this for? Back to pull-up. So this isn't me trying to shit on you. It's just that, like, nobody gives a shit right now. You know what I mean? Nobody cares that much. Nobody cares that much to just watch you do an entire set. Now, again, if you're super credible, if you're hitting a max set, if you can do like 70 dips in one set, and it's like you with a audience of people who are watching in like some competition, even though it's reps, it's like, okay, that, you know, do you see how there's dopamine in that? But when it's over and over and over, it's not really nice to watch. And when there's a whole few minutes section here and I've skipped all of it, I'm like not watching this. Now I see here we've got this. This should be this should start at 0, 0, 0. Basically, the video should start with this bit here. He should be talking over it saying, hi, this is what my physique looks like right now, and this is my desired physique, and this is how I'm going to get there. I'm going to lift 5 times a week, and I also heard you've got to have 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and also this,
whatever.
That would be interesting as fuck. Imagine the first 10 seconds he had already told you what the journey is. This is my current physique. This is what I want to look like. This is how I'm going to get there. Let's go day number one. Straight away, I'm like, okay, sweet. And he's like, let's go day number one, but there was a problem. And it's like, like, I hate when, like, my mom doesn't get the thing that I needed. Now I've got to decide, should I get the right protein in today or should I get there's some dilemma. And I'm thinking like, oh, what would I do in that? Just see how straight away we'd be encapsulated by that. So here's a tip for the guys who are particularly doing the daily series, because a lot of you guys are doing like, day number 7, aesthetic body, whatever. Tell us the goal within 10 seconds of the video starting, within most videos starting. So I think I should be doing this as well. When you've got a bit of an audience, it's fine because they've already know who you are and everything. But when you're first starting off, I want to see a picture like this, or you kind of, showing it, annotating it, whatever, saying, within 10 seconds, tell us, this is what I currently look like, this is what I want to get to, this is how I'm planning to do it, and this is the obstacle in my way, or this is the obstacle of today. It's kind of like how a TV show, like if you ever watched like those cartoons, like Avatar, The Legend of Aang, it would start off with like the girl saying like, 100 years went past and we found the Avatar and he needs to kill the fire guy, but he can't because he's just a kid. It's like, okay, sweet, I know what's happening now. Okay, sweet. I was just seeing a few seconds ago. Yeah, so this is what I'd like to see from everyone who's doing like a daily series. And also take the principles for basically everyone else's YouTube videos. You don't have to say the same things over and over. But the first like 10 seconds should tell us what the video is about. Now, seeing this, I'm not going to lie, this was like an old school fitness kind of video, which I could see pop up again, which has this kind of like slow start where, the guy picks up the phone and he stretches and he works out. I could see this popping off at some point because that era of like, I'm a real person, I don't have a camera. That's like doing kind of well on YouTube these days. But that being said, you're never going to go wrong with giving the audience what they want right away. So I would really recommend we start about here. And at the very least, speak over this, right? This clip with music is just dead. It's just so boring. But this clip with you speaking about whether, for example, you're speaking about the workout, or even better, speak about something even irrelevant, but which is about fitness. So that way we can listen to something which is kind of entertaining, but we can also watch fitness and just like, for example, you could have this video, put it up on your editing software, then record yourself just talking about life. Oh, so today I was in school and this girl did this, and oh wait, I think this is the set where I actually get an injury. And it's, do you see how like when we're watching it, we'd be like, oh, dopamine, like, okay, there's something on screen and we're imagining what he's talking about. I remember it like about a year ago, I forgot what it was, but there's a few guys actually who play video games, but they give like self-improvement advice, like they talk about like life and whatever, not related to the game, but it's kind of like nostalgic games like Call of Duty or Minecraft or whatever, but they show you the game, but they don't talk about the game and they don't put music over it. Because otherwise, like now we're going back to like fucking 2013. Okay, I'm just going to watch some kid play Minecraft. Like, who the fuck is this? I'm just going to watch this guy who, for example, like this is going to get boring as fuck, right? If there's just music and there's no explanation. This is like the OG Minecraft days when no one knew how to do well on YouTube. This is my channel, by the way. What would have made this better is if either one I was commentating live, so it's like what's this guy who, when they're watching me, okay, Hamza's like, he's okay guys, I'm gonna go up here, wow, there's a guy here, oh okay, sweet, I got him, and I'm speaking to a friend I'm playing with or something, okay, sweet. But another version is, imagine the exact same thing but with no music, maybe with the official sound, and it's me just talking over it about something that's entertaining. Because that, I think, is powerful when you're going to use what this is called as B-roll, because then you get double dopamine. You're watching something which is entertaining, and you're like all of you commenting right now. It's like it's funny, right? There's something happening on screen. But when there's only something happening on screen and music that you can zone out on, it's kind of boring. But if I was talking about like, oh, so hey guys, I'm 12 years old and I'm like going to school right now, and this girl in my school did this, and they found my Minecraft channel or whatever. It gives you extra reason to watch, right? So for many of you who are doing the fitness niche especially, this would 100% work for you. If you want to show some of your lifts, talk over it at the very least. Don't listen, don't make it listen. Let's listen to you talk a little bit, then we'll move on to the next question.
What's up, bro? Welcome back to another video of building a TikTok music series. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm just gonna drink some water, because I am really, really parched today, so forgive me. Just give me one more sip. All right. So with that out of the way, let's get straight to the topic of this video, and as to like why I followed the low carb diet. So before I basically tell you as the reason why I followed the low carb diet, let me tell you my story of basically behind the reason as to like the motivation as to why I followed the low carb diet.
So this is a speaking skill constraint right there, where basically with a lack of planning and foresight in what we're going to say, this is how, and I don't mean to shit on you, Alan, but I'm just going to make a point here. This is how most people speak. They want to tell you about this thing here. So I'm here, they want to tell you about this, but this is how they do it. If you guys have ever been on a coaching call with me and you've seen me coach someone, it's usually like this. It's like they're just weird, random, fucking extra bit of information that we didn't need. He's just yapping. He's not letting me kind of give him advice. It's like we're not getting to the thing that we needed to say, right? Now, you will get more views. You will attract more women. You'll make more money and get more respect when you talk like this. But to do this, it takes a little bit more effort, because you need to know what is the major points that we need them to believe, or what's the argument or the point that I'm trying to make. So for example, for his case, the point that we're trying to make is low carb diets, good. That's what I'm assuming, because what he was saying in the video, right? And then this is where we start. So instead of it being like, oh, guys, okay, oh, awesome, water, oh, another sip of water, okay, so I'm on the low-carb diet. But first, let me explain that story with, like, you see how it's going to get everywhere, and I guarantee the story is going to make it seem even messier and messier. Imagine if straight away he said something like, so this is where we want to get them to. Imagine if you worded it like this. I eat 0 grams of carbs every day, and this is why. Straight away, it's like, you know what we're talking about. There wasn't any problem to understand, right? Or this is why you should eat no carbs. Reason number 1 is this. Reason number 2 you should eat no carbs is this. Just see how we're stacking upon the logical arguments to get someone to the point that we need to get them to. So this takes a little bit more effort, but it's something that each and every one of us could benefit from. So in your posts in Adonis School, in your little videos on Adonis School or on YouTube, think to yourself, here in this thing that we're doing right now, like for example, an Adonis School post, what is the point we're trying to make them believe? What is the point I'm trying to get across? What's very valuable, by the way, I'd really recommend this, is write it out word for word. What is the one point? You could write like 1 point that you want to get across. Word for word, you should write it out. Like, so for example, for him, he should write out somewhere, low carb diet is better for you. Low carb diet is good. Once we then have that, we can literally use that phrase to construct the sentences we're going to say. I would say that probably about 90% of the conversations I have with people, they actually don't even know what point they're trying to make. They've just got this weird emotion they're trying to convey, but they haven't changed the emotion into like a logical point, like an argument. So before you speak on camera, before you write a post in Adonis School, before you ask someone for advice, before you go up to a girl, ask yourself, what's the one point that I'm just trying to convey to them? And really, if you possibly can, write it out word for word, like in your script, for example. That will be so powerful, because then at least you'll just stay on. You might fuck up a little bit, fine, but you'll be a lot sharper with your speech. It won't feel like this where it's just going all the way. It's like, nope, I know what point I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to convey that my workout routine is the best one, and you should only do 1 set per muscle group, for example. Once I know that, then I can construct my logical arguments. I can construct what story is going to help me to make that post. I can construct my point number 1, point number 2, case study where I've helped someone and I told someone to do it and they thought it was really cool. I can construct a limiting belief that they might have. Just see how everything will line up together. So this is the way that you should be making arguments. And it's quite difficult to do this in a conversation. But for YouTube, there's no excuses not to have this, right? Because you get to like sit down and prepare this. So this is like the format that I want you guys to think about. Start at the end point first. What is the major points, word for word, we're trying to make? Write it out word for word. Think about where they are now. Then think, okay, what are the steps to make them believe this point? Usually starting with a story works really well. Now, you don't just tell any story. You really think, okay, well, what story is going to make them believe this one point? So if we say like low carb, good. Low carb, good. What story is going to make them believe this point? Oh, it was the first day where I was on keto and I felt awesome and I was so surprised and whatever. Then we might say, okay, what's my argument number 1? Argument number 1, well, because, the humans are carnivores, it's our ancestors, right? It's more natural. Argument number 2, sugar is really bad for you, insulin, and people are fat and stuff, so sugar's bad, and that means, carbs are bad, so that proves this. Then you might say, okay, limiting belief. Oh, you might have heard that, from fat doctors that you've got to have carbs and vegetables and stuff, but actually you don't. There's actually base doctors out there who say that you don't have to have it. Just see how we're going through like a series of logical arguments. By the time we get to the end of it, someone has to believe our points. So you'll see me do this in an upcoming video, where the point is routine is absolutely essential to human life. And the way that I distill this down is I start off by making the first logical point, which is that our nervous system hasn't changed from caveman days. We still have the same nervous system as them. We're still biologically basically the same. We don't evolve within like 100,000 years. Then I'll start to make points that distill this. So now imagine the cavemen. If they had variety, basically they were off routine, that would have been a bad thing for them. The only time a caveman would have ate something different is if his usual food source was not available. The only time his environment would have been different is if his usual environment was not giving him what he needed. Therefore, I could theorize that variety would have been a cause for stress for our caveman ancestors. Now that we've already established this point up here, that means that it's still a stress for us. Then I'll start to tell a story, which is that, oh yeah, when I even have 1 day off my routine and I eat a varied diet, a balanced diet like people recommend, I actually feel worse. When I eat the exact same meal 7 days a week, I feel better. The moment I have one meal difference, I feel worse, even though technically all the scientists tell us that would be healthier because you should have like a mix of vegetables every single day, mix of meats and stuff. But I always feel better when I have the exact same routine. Just see how we're going point by point to build such a logical argument, all for this, that routine is really good. This is how we speak very clearly, concisely. This is how you get your point across. And you just seem, honestly, so much more intelligent. And if you want to research this more, I keep recommending this. This is the book. It's called Smart Brevity. Just go find it on Amazon. Really good book. It's super short as well. You can go read that. Okay, let's go next question. So, don't know how to say your name, bro. Panagitos said, how can I make my videos fun to watch and say useful information as well? Right now, my goal is to fall in love with the game and make people watch till the end of the video. Let's have a look at your channel. Thumbnails look nice. The titles look nice as well. Let's have a look at some of the videos.
I will tell you the 5 crucial steps that I did and you need to follow in order to go from a stickman to a Greek Viking god. Step 1, your mind is unclear, and I will explain to you what I mean by this. I was always...
This is some great speaking skills. You see how we're on the point right away? He's already told us straight away what we're here for, what we're getting, and we're already learning something. Within 15 seconds, I like nodded in my head thinking, oh yeah, mindset, yeah, fair enough. That's like a good point there.
The skinny guy, and I wanted to bulk, but I always had some limited beliefs. I didn't want to lose my abs. I didn't want to eat dirty and unhealthy foods. I thought back then that oats, peanut butter, and all of that stuff were really unhealthy. Of course, pizzas and junk food, I didn't even touch them. But I will tell you this, what is more unhealthy? You not achieving your goals, be unhappy, having your mind always being depressed that you're not achieving your goals, or not eating a little bit unhealthy, but achieving your goals. You need to make your mind clear of what you want. Imagine if you don't achieve your goal.
You lost me there a little bit. I don't know if anyone else found that. Like, I was really invested up to about here.
Thought back then that oats, peanut...
This was awesome. I was like, okay, so you thought oats and peanut butter is unhealthy. He's going to tell me it's healthy, so that's actually cool. I can eat these things. So I was getting excited, right? But just after the sentence, I kind of lost it a little bit.
That stuff were really unhealthy. Of course, pizzas and junk food.
So we were making a point there. We were going down in that line, and then we've just went to the side. We just took a detour. We were making logical point. Oh yeah, and of course this other thing, like, you know, we've slightly moved off course right there.
I didn't even touch them. But I will tell you this, what is more unhealthy? You not achieving your goals, be unhappy, having your mind always being...
This is where you lost me. It wasn't clear what point you were trying to make here. So the point needs to be extremely clear. Just see how I probably, realistically, if I was watching this video, would have stopped watching here because I just got confused. At first, you were making awesome points, and then I just didn't really understand what point you were making here. This is why every point, if you really want to make your videos high effort, every point you make in the video, you should write out beforehand. So you should know, okay, this is the specific word for word point that I'm making. So you might write this out in your script or something. Low carb diet is better. Mike Mensa workout routine is the best. High volume isn't necessary. You might write like 10 of these things and have like this rough flow of your script, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I need to convince them that the low carb diet is better. Sometimes even just saying it makes it super easy for me to know what message you're giving, right? So just bear that in mind. When in doubt, just saying the point is actually still a great point, if you get what I mean. Like, you can literally just say the low carb diet is better, and instantly I understand what point you're trying to make. So never overcomplicate it. This is where it got overcomplicated. I kind of understand what point you're trying to make here, but you lost me a little bit.
That you're not achieving your goals, or not eating a little bit unhealthy, but...
And then the point is, once you lose someone, if I continue watching, because I'm giving you a chance, you hooked me in the first bit, now I'm even more confused. I've got no idea what we're exactly talking about right now. Do you see what I mean? This is the problem of, like, if you have one bit of your video, of your conversation, let's say it was like this, we need to get them to here, we were going perfect. As soon as there's one bit off and I don't understand what's happening, you've basically, now I'm all jumbled up, you've basically lost me. Now you can redeem this when you say, okay, point number 2, to make you lose weight. Okay, well, okay, sweet. Okay, I didn't really understand what he was saying there, but okay, sweet, let's give him another chance. Do you see how, like, that can be nice, having, like, the parts, which I think you've done in this video, having parts to your points, like parts to your video. So if I've kind of got a little bit confused at number 1, which was like mindset, when you tell me number 2, like, oh yeah, walking 10,000 steps a day, I'm like, oh, okay, sweet, like, new thing that I can understand here.
Achieving your goals, you need to make your mind clear of what you want. Imagine if you don't achieve your goal, it will be matter if you are healthy or not then, because you won't be healthy in your mind. And if your mind is not healthy, your body will not be healthy. So you need to make your mind clear what you want, what the physique looks like. Because if a physique is 2 times larger than what you have right now, you need to eat a lot more, and you need to make sacrifices. It might need for you to sacrifice your health. You don't even know what's healthy or not, but
No idea what's happening now. We were talking about mindset, now we're talking about sacrificing health, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, sacrificing health isn't a good thing, right? Lost me over here now. We were going amazing there, though. So the start was awesome, the hook was awesome, it was straight to the point, but the actual point that we were on, like the chapter, was all, it was like a iPhone earphones that you put in your pocket, and it's all like tangled up. We just want to have them just straight. This is where it got tangled up for me here.
I will be honest with you. What I'm eating, the CBAM pancakes, the rice with olive oil, I eat this every single day. And I will tell you in the first hand, they are not healthy, all right? They are not healthy, but they are not the most unhealthy thing. So what sacrifice I did?
The point here, I think, was your mind, right? So here on this chapter of this video, I would have liked to hear you actually talk about mind. This, like what you're talking about, should have been a different chapter where you say like healthy versus unhealthy, because that's the argument you're really making here. In fact, like, you know, the argument where you said your mind, that's got nothing to do with the thing you're really talking about. So your hook here was amazing. When we got to this section, you told me it was about my mind, but it's actually a different topic completely, so now I'm confused. If, for example, you said your mind and you were like, yeah, so what you've got to do is have a very clear image of your physique. You should save pictures and have it in your notes, and you should visualize it. I'd be like, okay, yeah, sweet, that's a really cool idea. You tell me like, oh yeah, like look at my phone wallpaper, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. And you're like, yeah, set that as your wallpaper right now. Go find a physique of someone who's got the perfect physique and put it as your phone wallpaper. Even if someone says it's gay, it doesn't matter. It's like your goal. Straight away, you would have had me hooked there. I would have really appreciated that advice. But when you said your mind, and now we're talking about this, it's all jumbled up. So make sure whenever you are making a point, you stick to that point till that point is complete, then we move on. So the whole video looks like this, right? So this is the start, this is the major point we want to convey to them. Inside each point that we want to make, so for example, we want to make the point of the mind, that should in itself be looking like this as well. Do you get what I mean? So in its entirely, a video looks like this, but when we zoom in, it kind of looks like this. Does that make sense? It's like it's mini versions of the same smart brevity, point by point by point. Now this is the brutal thing with like being an educational creator. You could have all these points that are amazing. If this one is confusing, I'm leaving the video. That's it. Entire video gone. Whole video. All the value you gave here, all gone. All the cost in your time, your effort in editing, all gone. I won't make it past this. I'm only watching as a favor to you right now. As soon as you lost me, I would have clicked off personally, right? So make this an extra bit of effort, because many of you guys have said the exact same thing to me in the last like few weeks. I've got time, Hamza. How do I get more results? I've got time. Like, give me more work to do. So this is the work I want to see from all the YouTubers here. I want to see your videos like this. I want to see a logical argument to logical argument to logical argument over and over and over again, right till the end. So the way you can do this specifically is you can write out the script in points. So don't write it word for word, but you can have like the points. Okay, mind. This will be the chapter, and it's like 1, show my wallpaper. 2, limiting belief. People are gonna think it's gay. Whatever. You get my point. So this is us breaking this chapter down. But another way you can do this, so that's in the script phase, is once the video is made, review it yourself, act like you're me, and think, is it going like this? Where does it stop? Where does it get confusing? Ask for feedback in Adonis School, post the link there, and ask people, where did it get confusing? And if you imagine this drawing that I keep drawing for you guys, because that's the thing, it's so brutal. You could have such a good video. If we've just stopped there because you just yapped about something irrelevant, it's gone. If that happens around here, and you've already given me a fuck ton of value, okay, sure, you know, I'll finish the video, I'll keep watching. If, for example, it's someone I really like, who I trust, who's given me a ton of value beforehand, okay, I'll keep watching because I expect them to give me more. But especially when you're a new YouTuber and basically 99.99999, basically everyone on the platform doesn't know you, you don't want to have any like weakness in your video. You don't want to have any chance that someone gets pissed off here and doesn't make it, right? So all your video in its entirety should look like this, but all parts of the video should also look like this. So this is like the mind part. You get my point, yeah?
It was I ate
Let's go
a
to the
balanced food,
and let's see.
make it a little bit more unhealthy, which is good, right? Second step, actually tracking your food every single day is key. If you haven't actually tracked for 1 week the foods that you ate, 100% of the food you ate, you will not bulk. That's literally 100% true. If you struggle to bulk, it's probably because of this. If you haven't tracked your fucking foods for 1 single week, literally 7 fucking days a year, if you haven't done this, to actually see how much you eat, to break the limited beliefs that you eat a lot, you will not actually bulk. Literally. I always thought that I was eating a lot. I was seeing my father and I was eating 2 times more than him. But when you actually see someone else, other from your family, because your family is like you, they are eating little. If you go and see other people how much they eat, you'll be shocked. And then you will realize how much you're supposed to eat. And if you don't see this, you will not realize this at all. The only hope you have is actually track for 1 week what you eat. And this is a game changer. This is your bulking season. This is when you will start building a lot of muscle mass. After this 1 week, you will actually break the beliefs and you will understand how much you should eat. So, action step, go now. Don't follow the rest of the video. If you haven't done this step, it doesn't matter. Just do this 1 week. I want you from tomorrow, go download my fitness pal right now, track every single food you eat for 7 days. And I promise you, if you do that, you will actually make tremendous progress in your gym. You will save years of your life. That's a promise. If you don't do this, you will not make it. So this is an action step. Don't continue this video. After the 7 days, you can continue watching this. Step 3, eating trash foods will make your physique and the progress in the gym decline.
That was pretty good. I'd say it's the same thing though, where it seems like you have an idea of what we're gonna go through. So number 1, mind. Number 2, this thing. Problem is, we also need that inside. So it's like 2.1, what are we gonna say? 2.2, what are we gonna say? 2.3, right? It's like a table of contents, right? This is how our video should be structured in logical format. And we knew that this one was gonna be about tracking your food. But then I think inside of it, it was just vague. And now we're on 3. You knew what we were gonna say roughly, but it wasn't in the sort of coherent, logical step. Because in my opinion, what it should have been is story, and it should have been, oh, you know, I always heard people saying that you've got to track your food, but I didn't really track my food till one day, you know, something happened. I was with my dad, and then I realized, oh shit, like I'm under eating like crazy, and you know, whatever. Okay, story makes it relatable. Then we gave the arguments, which is like, yeah, you know, if you haven't tracked, it's crazy, just fucking do it. Then we give the action step. Do you see how that's a logical bounce here? But in the video, it was a little bit off. So it's the exact same advice. I think this is what we'll call it for Adonis School, is like, organize your table of contents, just like in a book. When you start a book at the front page, there's a table of contents that the author has spent ages figuring out what should be in what order. This is what we need to do in our script. It's what we need to follow in our videos. And yes, sure, sometimes it's not going to flow perfect. You know, you could script it out and you get emotional at 3 and you end up like, you know, blabbing a little bit. That happens. I do it all the time as well. But if you can do this, it will make your videos better. So maybe when you script, for example, you think to yourself, what's the major point that I'm trying to make them believe? What's the first major section that we need to talk about, which might be, okay, the mindsets. Inside of that, what do they need to know? So that's 1.1, then 1.2. You get my point, right? And then, okay, what's the second thing they need to know? It's about diets, actually what to eat. So what's the first thing? Oh, this point. What's the second thing? Okay, this point. When you flesh out your ideas like this, you'll make such a coherent video, so coherent, which makes it so easy for us to understand what you're trying to get across there. Awesome. We'll do one more question. Let's do another YouTube one. We got Jome. Let's have a look. How can I improve my YouTube channel?
Okay, so for most of my life, fuck you. Okay, so for most of my life, fuck you. So for most of my life, I've actually been quite needy. When I was younger, I always wanted people, especially women, to pay attention to me. I always wanted people's attention. And the reason why I wanted it was because I was a needy guy. I was very needy as a boy, very needy. And this led to me being very low status. This led to me being seen as more of a loser. This led to me not having too many friends. The best way to attract women is not through pickup lines, not through your physique, your looks maxing, testosterone maxing. It's not of these. These could certainly help you. These will definitely help you with attracting women. But what women are looking for, the exact thing that women are looking for is, how needy are you? If you are a very needy guy, it does not matter if you're 6'4", jacked.
What he's done there is awesome, is start talking in a way where you're disagreeing with the conventional advice.
This led to me being seen as, led to me too many friends. The best way to attract women is not through pickup lines, not through your physique.
The best way to attract a woman is not through pickup lines and looks maxing and such. Because now when you're watching this, you're like, okay, well, what's he going to say? I kind of agree with that, actually. What's he going to say? I have to watch. No one's going to click off at this point. At the very least, for the next 5 seconds, everyone is going to stay and keep watching. Because your brain's in an open loop. It's like you have to find out what his opinion is going to be.
Your looks maxing, testosterone maxing. It's not of these. These could certainly help you. These will definitely help you with attractive women.
I'd say the argument got weaker there with that phrase. Oh, this can help you. It can definitely help you. I would have just not even included that. The best way to attract women is not with looks maxing. It's not with pickup lines or cold approaching. It's actually by not being needy. And I know what you're thinking, like looks maxing is actually really important, but the most important part of looks maxing is appearing like you are superior to her. It's appearing that you don't need her.
But what women are looking for, the exact thing that women are looking for is, how needy are you? If you are a very needy guy, it does not matter if you're 6'4", jacked, 10 out of 10. If you are needy, she will not want you. But at the same time, you could be broke, 4-foot guy who's ugly, but you will have a better chance of attracting a high quality girl. And if you're not needy, do you get what I mean? So depending on if you're needy or not, you have a higher or lower chance to attracting girls. So you can basically be a very high quality man, like in terms of looks, status, and all of this. But if you're insecure, if you're needy, she will lose all attraction for you. My name is Jume, and I make videos for young guys in order to like teach lessons. And my goal is to improve your life and as well as other lives. In order for you to see more of my videos, please subscribe. It'd be really appreciated. Now, one truth you know is women can actually sense your neediness. It's like they have a sixth sense where they can actually.
Story would be really good here. I saw this one guy who was super attractive in the club, but he was just coming across as needy, but he was so attractive. He was tall. He was like the guy that all the guys watching this, all the guys would love to look like. And girls were just cringing at him. They were literally running away from him because he was so needy and he wouldn't leave this one girl group over. But every single time I leave the club, there's always some short kings who are confident as fuck and they're always leaving with a girl. Why is it that some guys, when they're not attractive, when they're not successful, when they don't have money, they're getting girls? And why is it that some guys who have got the perfect physique, they've been going to the gym for 10 years, they got money and they're struggling? Why? What is it? Because they're the physique, they've got the money. It's how needy they are. Just see how if you give us that example say something which is like relatable. It doesn't need to be a very specific story, but if it's like very relatable, the guy will be nodding his head thinking like, yeah, I've seen that as well. Like, I've got a really attractive friend and like girls don't like him for some reason, but yeah, it makes sense. Like, I thought looks maxing was the only thing, but he's actually saying something that I've seen in my own life.
Tell. Well, for example, I had a friend the other day who was telling me like some stupid shit, and I could just tell that he was just spouting bullshit. And it's not just me, it's not just women. Everyone has this like this feeling, this sense of like being able to tell bullshit apart from truth. Like, you can actually sense if someone is actually being genuine about what they're saying, or if they actually just had like a hidden intention. And so when you come to a woman, or when you start speaking to a woman and like you have a hidden intention, or if you're being needy or you're insecure, they can sense that, and they'll be less attracted to you if you have that. If you're not needy, if you're not insecure, if you're just expressing who you are as a person, you with no hidden intentions, that's when they'll start being attracted to you. That's when they'll start investing in you more than you will invest in them. So it's really important for you to realize that whatever you say, if you have a hidden intention behind it, if you're being needy about it, women can sense that. But so what is neediness? Neediness is when you are more invested in what other people's perception of you is than you yourself are invested in your own perception of yourself. So if you care more about what other people think of you, you're being needy, because you are going to try to raise their perception of you, whatever means possible. Like, you could be a clown, and so people start laughing at you. You're needy. That's just how it is. If you care more, I should tell you to act like this, faking. How do I say this? You're basically faking how you want to present yourself. You're basically changing yourself, or changing her perception of you into thinking like you're more of this.
Yeah, it's a great start. I'd say it's the same advice as well, over and over again. I think this insight here is going to help basically everyone in this call. Let's get your arguments very concise and specific. Before you press record, you know exactly, let's say, the 3 major points you're going to make. So we're going to say why neediness is so bad, how to stop being needy. We might actually put that at number 3, and then also why you are needy. This is going to be like the 3 parts of our video. Inside of that, then we'll write down, okay, what's like the 3 inside of each point. So why, I forgot what I wrote, but you get my point. So we might have a story here, whatever. This is the way to structure a video, which will make your point so coherent that anyone who's watching will instantly get what point you're trying to make, and it won't feel like it gets a bit fluffy, because you made awesome points in that video, as did everyone else we reviewed today. You're making awesome points, you're telling good stories. I just think now it's about constructing it like an author would, like taking some more time for our videos to really take the 10 minutes to sit there and think, okay, should the story come here or should it come there? Don't figure that out in the middle of the video. Do that specifically, especially when you're on like a massive like growth. You get my point, right? It's harder for you guys to grow when you have no proof, testimonials, no word of mouth or anything. When you have basically no audience, you need to provide more value. You need to have more structure to your videos. It needs to be more concise. You're allowed with less bullshit, time waste, anything like that. So let's make sure we're implementing this for the next review that we do for you guys, and the next videos that we're doing. And then next time when we're doing a video review, I want to start seeing some guys who've implemented this so we can see just how much more coherent the video is. Awesome. We'll leave it there for this call. We'll hop on to the next one now if you guys want to jump over. What do we think about the call today? Was that insightful? Tons of like YouTube knowledge there. There you go. I'm posting the link for the next call. I'm going to jump into that now. I'll post this recording on Adonis School for us. Nice one, boys. See you there.